Have you ever found the word grief too heavy to speak, too overwhelming to even think about? You're nodding, right? Actually, so am I. Together, we'll explore the G word. Yes, I mean grief. This isn't your everyday podcast. Here we'll dive into grief's raw, ugly, scary, and yes, occasionally beautiful facets. As your host, Caitlin, I'll share my personal experiences and conversations with people, providing you with comfort and resources in your darkest moments. The G word bridges the gap between silence and the conversation on grief among adolescents and young adults, a conversation we often shy away from. From strategies to cope, understanding guilt and regret, to embracing acceptance and finding meaning, the G word is a safe space created for you, a place where you can feel seen, heard, understood. Shouldering sorrow with strength and grace isn't easy, but with our shared grief, shared resilience, we, the young survivors, march forward one step at a time, be seen, be heard on the G word. Join us, let's navigate the journey of grief together. It's time to break the silence. Hello everybody, welcome to the 4th episode of the G word. Thank you for tuning in today. You don't understand, I know I'm all for learning in regards to this whole podcast journey. I'm learning things about myself. I'm learning things about my relationship with grief. I'm learning about technology. But don't even get me started. I used this software previously to do the last 3 episodes, and I kind of had a couple of issues, but I kind of tried to move past it because I thought, oh, maybe it's a one-off. It happened 3 times. There was one time, which was the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, which was I recorded a whole episode. So I actually had recorded this episode that I'm going to be recording this evening, and it literally just would not upload. And I was so annoyed because it was such a good episode in my opinion. It was just, I say my progress with this podcast is improving. If you listen to the first one, I'd accidentally connect it to my headphone mic and not this mic, so it sounds so distant and not that good. And obviously audio is getting better, and just this podcast in general, I just feel it is getting better, obviously with time and progress. So this is a new software I'm using, so hopefully it works. And also, if you're watching the video of this, just don't ask. Just don't. I've got rugby training later, so that's my excuse. And also, it's not a hair wash day. And if you are a curly-haired person like myself, you know that you can basically have in your calendar the days you're going to wash your hair. You know that you don't have to wash your hair for 4 or 5 days. As gross as it sounds, I'm actually saving the environment right now. My water usage is less than people with straight hair. I'm sorry to admit that. So I do have a bit of a superiority complex in regards to that. So yeah, I'm back. And if I take time to take a sip, I've got a soya hot chocolate today. I'm really trying to cut out as much dairy as I'm eating. But I am partial to a cheese drink sometimes, happens. But I'm trying to drink soya milk now. So this is a soya hot chocolate from Cafe Nero. So very nice, very, very nice. Yeah, so this episode this week is going to be about the guilt with grief, and we'll be exploring it in regards to the indirect and the direct guilt that comes with grief. I'm sure you've experienced some form of guilt, and it's very different to each person. You've got personal guilt with pursuing things. You've got the guilt of kind of being sad when everybody else around you, well, I mean, not around you, but when you've got friends, etc., that aren't sad, you've got that guilt with that. So we'll be exploring into that. So that's the main premise of the episode this week. But I'm just gonna do what have I done this week? Maybe I should do 2 weeks actually. What have I done in the last 2 weeks? Because it's been that long. Because obviously, I just kind of had that issue with my episode. But I don't think we've got enough time for that. And I know, you're really taking one for the team listening to this at the moment. So I appreciate that. So this week, or the week just gone, I worked. I did a couple of shifts at work. It was right. It was nice. Bit of money. We love money. And what else did I do? Oh, Friday. So, okay, scrap that. Rewind. So on Monday, it was my older brother's 25th birthday. Gosh, he's literally a quarter of a century now. Bro, Jack, you are old, right? Saying that, I'm going to be like 25 in like 3.5 years. So it will fly. It will fly. And basically, what did we do? So Jack didn't do anything for his birthday per se, but then Friday evening, Friday during the day, I went back down to London from my university, and my mum and sister came from where we live in Essex, and we all met up. We all went out for dinner. Yeah, Jack had some holy shoes. So mum bought him some as a birthday present because he's at that age where he's like, I don't want anything for my birthday. And I mean, that's fine for me. Don't spend anything with him. But mum was like, nope, well, come on, we'll go get some shoes. So I went to Pull and Bear, got him some shoes. Then we went out for dinner to like an Italian place, kind of very cute, very like, you know, kind of rustic. Like has all the meat you're going to have like is in front of you in like the butcher window, you know, and they cut it fresh. All very fresh, all very nice. It was very, very nice. And then Saturday I went back up to uni after going out for brunch with Jack and his girlfriend, Eustace. That was very, very nice. And then I went to... What did I do? Oh, I was meant to go to a university social, but this is the thing. So it was actually my dad's birthday yesterday, that being Sunday, the 3rd of March. So on Saturday, I was a bit of a mess, I won't lie. It was just, I'll be honest, I think I am in the worst place with my grief at the moment. And I do think that is purely because obviously I'm grieving a relationship with the breakup I'm currently going through. But that's getting easier. That is getting so much easier. And I won't lie, I saw something on the weekend that gave me such a big ick. So that's the thing. If you are going through a breakup, just think of things about them, or if you see anything about them, just if it icks you out, don't sit there and try and like, you know, kind of excuse it, being like, oh, but they're cute. No, it icks you out. If that icks you out, that icks you out. I won't lie, that's helped me with the moving on process so much more. So anyway, so Saturday I was in a mess, and I don't know if you find when it's coming up, like the build up to a certain specific date is worse, I think, for me than the actual date. So when my dad passed away, which was obviously start of Jan, the few days before, just after the new year, I am very emotionally frail, delicate, you know, kind of not one to be messed with. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just very much am like very emotional, very upset, and I'm just processing things. Memories are kind of being resurfaced. Then on the actual day, I kind of keep myself busy, so then, like, I don't have to really think about it. And I've kind of experienced the emotional hangover of the day before. So yeah, Saturday I wasn't really feeling it, and I was meant to go out to a social for university, and I just decided not to go. So I sold my ticket, and then I actually went to the gym. And do you know what? I'm not blaming this on my relationship, but I love the gym. Like, I love the gym, and I'm quite a strong girl. You know, like, you can't really see it. To be fair, I did do a back and biceps yesterday, so that's why my biceps are like. But anyway, if you saw the video, I do apologise. That was quite scary. So I did a gym session, and I actually like was moving weights so I haven't been to gym for ages, and then when I go back to the gym, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not as strong as I used to be, so I'm gonna like go with weights that are quite significantly lower than what I was doing, so then obviously I can build up the strength. And I don't know why these weights were like flying, and I was like, okay, let me add on a bit more. And I actually had a really, 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 really good session. And then I was talking to one of my best friends, Mia, and she was like to me, Caitlin, go on, just tonight, just treat yourself. Go get some food or something. And I was like, no, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to spend money and this and that and whatever. And then basically, as my gym session was going really well, I was like, do you know what? You deserve someone to cook for you. And obviously, because I don't have a boyfriend now, although, bless him, my ex didn't cook. So I don't even know. Anyway. But because I was like, okay, I don't have an in-house chef, I'll go and get Nando's. So I ordered it while I was doing my gym session, but my session finished with some time. Like I finished my session about 20 minutes before the time I was meant to go pick up my food. So anyway, I had a shower quickly, then ate my food, and then I did some uni work, and then I went to bed, and I just felt, I just felt really, really refreshed and really happy with myself. And I managed to kind of distract myself with, you know, the feelings of missing my dad. I think it's just sad. Like, it's sad in the sense of, like, you just want to message them happy birthday and be like, happy birthday, hope you have a lovely day. I know I would have been up at uni, so I would have maybe not seen him, but in my mind I sit there playing out, okay, we went to see Jack over the weekend for his birthday, then we would have maybe like made it into a joint thing for my dad and brother, you know, just something nice. But I'm not into signs and spiritual things. Well, I'm into it more than I wasn't. And obviously when my dad passed away, I do believe in like the kind of they're watching over you, etc. So anyway, this is a mad thing. We were at brunch, right? So Jack, myself, and you stay at brunch in this cafe in East London, and basically there's songs on, and then Higher Love comes onto the comes through to the, like on the speaker, and the thing is with Higher Love is the original version of it by Steve Winwood was played at my dad's funeral, and this was the Whitney Houston version. But this was the thing, we were just sitting there, and I can't remember, we literally had mentioned something about Dad, about it being his birthday, without the song even playing. It was a previous song. And then the next song was literally the Higher Love. And we were like, what the hell? Like, literally, like, what is actually going on? And I actually got really emotional. I actually got I teared up. But then it's one of those things where people go, do you know when they're always watching over you? And I'm like, when he first passed away, I was like, nope, no, thank you. Because I thought that's just not true. But like, literally, it was just nice. It kind of gave me solace, and it made me feel close to him. It made me feel close to him, and it made, well, hopefully him feel close to me. So, yeah, that was my intro. We all kind of like do a long shablang about what I've done. I hope this week you've had a good week. We're now in March, which is mad. So I want to know, like, how is your progress going with your little goals, your little steps, you know? I've got literally 2 more weeks of teaching at uni, like lessons, and then I've got like 5 weeks off, and then I've got like 2 exams. So I'm literally gonna be done with my second year of uni by kind of middle to end of May, which is crazy. So yeah, like I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you've been kind to yourself, and yeah, lovely. So anyway, let's get on to the main body of today. So, like I say, I want to talk about a common yet rarely discussed emotion with grieving people, which we have to grapple with, which is guilt. When I lost my dad 4 years ago now, with the sudden hemorrhage, I was plagued by an intense guilt about, like, just the future of, like, when I'm moving away. Like, I really badly want to go to university. Like, I'm a very academic person. I'm from a very small town, like we all know, we've established. And I just really wanted to, like, broaden my horizons, right? And, like, I was plagued by this guilt of, like, moving away to university and having to, like, start building my own life. When I lost my dad 4 years ago to his sudden brain hemorrhage, there was this guilt of, like, you know, do I move away to go and pursue my dream of going and getting a degree at university, or do I go and choose a university that's closer to home so I don't have to leave them per se? And I felt guilty that he also wasn't there to experience the positive things in our lives anymore, and also the negatives, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly sides, you know. And I found that, you know, so with yesterday celebrating his birthday, like I say, it's the 5th one we've now celebrated without him. I found the physical day is easier than the emotional build-up. And I just want to provide some insights in this episode. Sorry, I've got itchy nose. I just want to provide some insights into this episode, like I say, where where guilt comes from, and how guilt impacts grief, and most importantly, like I'm going to give you some strategies that I've used to help me come over like the irrational guilt. Um, Guilt is a very complex emotion that it extends grief. It really intensifies the grief process, and I hope this discussion that I'm going to have today will be helpful in your own healing process. So I think first and foremost, we're going to have to define what is guilt. So guilt involves the responsibility of blame for something that has happened, and it's closely tied with regret and wishing we'd done something differently. And it manifests mentally. It does, 'cause that's when your thoughts are racing. So what is guilt? Guilt involves the responsibility or blame for something that has happened. It's tied with regret and wishing we'd done something differently. And obviously you've got the mental side of guilt where your brain keeps racing and you keep thinking about, what you wish, like I say, you could have done differently, etc. But it also manifests physically. So you can feel it as tension in your stomach. You can feel it as feeling quite nauseous and feeling like you're going to be sick. Sleepless nights, replaying the events of what happened. And just the thoughts of wondering what you could have done or what you should have done. And it's good to note that there are two types of guilt. You've got rational guilt and irrational guilt. I know. So rational guilt is based on actual errors we made that we have a responsibility to atone for. So, that might be, you left the tap on and it flooded the kitchen, and now, you've got to help tidy the kitchen. And then you've got irrational guilt, which exaggerates our role in an event that leads to excessive self-blame. So in this episode, I'm going to focus specifically on irrational guilt, because with the circumstances of this podcast, obviously I'm speaking about it in the sense of anyone who's experiencing grief as a young person or an adolescent, but it's in regards to, I'm assuming that most of the people, the people that you've lost in your life, you haven't had any kind of physical contribution to their passing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just the fact of the guilt that's associated now with the knock-on effect to their grief, okay? So when grief is accompanied by guilt, it can be extremely challenging to bear. Guilt feeds depression, anxiety, sleep troubles, and even thoughts of suicide. And let me add, if you have any thoughts of suicide, please do reach out to people. And I'm not invalidating anxiety, depression, sleep troubles with those. Please go speak to a GP and a health professional. You don't understand how willing they are to listen to you and the support they can offer you. In regards to suicide, there are helplines such as Samaritans, and you have even Childline, etc., or even the ambulance service if you are feeling that. And please, please, please never, please don't feel like ending it is the final bit of solace you need. It's very easy to consider taking the pain away, and I get that. But through time, you will find ways that you can try and put that energy and those feelings into something, I'm not saying positive, but something different, to not even distract yourself, but you are amazing and you are powerful, and you don't need to let those feelings win. Anyway, so back to my main point about the impact of guilt. So with guilt, it can cause us to withdraw from others and activities that we once enjoyed. For me personally, I found that was the case with rugby. For a while, when my dad fell ill and passed away, I could not bear to go and train in rugby, go to rugby training, because my dad was always there. Always. Without doubt, would always take me to training, would always watch me play, etc. He was so proud, and I couldn't bear to go to rugby for a bit. And actually, the first match I played was a good 2 years actually after he passed away, and gosh, I was in a state after that match as well. So yeah, we withdraw from activities we once enjoyed. Some people get completely stuck in their grief, unable to separate the pain of guilt and regret. And it also leads to constant rumination. So, you're endlessly repeating the what if and the self blame. Like I said, with my circumstances with my dad passing away, I sit there like, what if I got home early? What if I didn't have a period 6 today? And that's the thing, I can then go and blame my secondary school, be like, why did they put in a period 6 just for that lesson once every 2 weeks? Why was it, put it into another class, put it into this, put it into that? Or, like you could go around the blame game, and then you don't necessarily ever, not even get some sort of closure, but you never move on. Like, in the day, that was a timetabling situation, and that was what happened, and it just fell to be my class. Like, there were probably 30 different classes they could have picked, and it was my one, and it just happened, and it's just timetabling, and that just happened. And in a way, that's had to help me. I've had to think that to help me process and move on. And when you're doing a self-blame, this what if, it prevents us from fully healing. And I'm not saying this in the sense of like, oh, I've been there, I've got, got the stamp in my passport, etc. Like, no, I fully mean it. Like, it prevents you from healing because you stay trapped in reliving that tragedy of trauma. Like I say with my dad, when I got there and I didn't say on the phone to the thing, oh, he's having a brain hemorrhage, because I didn't know the signs, like, they would have known. And it's a bit like, that wouldn't have made any difference. And I always have the guilt of like, so my dad had to be driven to the neurological hospital, not flown by air ambulance, because it was getting too dark and they couldn't logistically do it. I was thinking, like I say, if I didn't have that class, if I didn't this, I would have got home early. It would have been earlier in the day, and he would have got flown by an air ambulance to the hospital. It would have been so much quicker. But what can you do? It sucks. It really, really sucks. But you can't hold on to that, because if I kept thinking about that, I would be continuously in this mental rut, blaming myself, beating myself up when there was nothing I could do. So yeah, you do need to let go of irrational guilt. It's essential for grieving people to progress in their journey. And I don't even mean that in like tooting my own horn. Like I say, we all know I'm 4-5 years into my journey with grief now. You might be further along. You might be at the start of it. You might be listening to this podcast because you want to feel you want your voice to be heard, or you want to listen to someone who's been through something similar to you and you want to see how they've processed it. I'm not saying you want to copy me, what I'm doing, etc., because I'm not saying what I've done is necessarily right, but just when I say let go of that guilt, that will be the most liberating thing ever. And it's not going to be an overnight fix. You're going to you're going to to and fro. You're going to, throw away those feelings for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, and then you'll go back to it, because that's the thing. You're then feeling guilty for not feeling guilty. I get that. I completely get that. So yeah, just let yourself progress in your journey. And my mum said a quote to me actually, which I think she came from Jim Carrey, saying, we all have good days, we all have bad days, but it's like, will you let the bad days, define you, or will you be victorious? And that's the thing. You just got to be victorious in these days, and like just do a little thing that will just help you. Like I say, one little positive thing in a day is better than nothing, like nothing at all. Okay. So how did I overcome like the irrational guilt of excessive guilt? The irrational guilt. How did I overcome my irrational guilt? I don't know why that took so long for me to put out there. So I think you need to kind of identify the thoughts that are inducing this guilt and challenge them. Be like, ask yourself, is that realistic? What evidence do I actually have? To some extent, I wouldn't have known if getting home earlier would have been the reason that my dad survived his injury or not. The damage caused by the hemorrhage might have been, regardless of what time, how long it took, might have just been, as extensive as it was from the get-go. like, to some extent, what could I have done? And also reflect on the deceased. Like, what would they say about your guilt? My dad was a very hands-on father. He absolutely adored his children. His colleagues have said, like, we've found out when I've had comments on like my social media or chatted to them, they said that he would always express how proud he was, and he would beam with pride whenever he would speak about his family and his children. And knowing this, I realised he would never, ever, ever want me to feel guilty moving forward. He'd want me to go and reach for the stars and smash targets, etc. I think he would feel guilty as an individual if I was holding myself back from feeling guilty myself. And when you are getting these emotions and you're feeling guilty about certain things, I think you've got to focus on positive memories and share them with people. You know, I talk to my friends, and they don't know. Some of the people I've met who my friends don't know my dad at all at uni. Like, they don't. Obviously, never knew him. Like, I came to uni with him being deceased anyway. Like, they wouldn't have known him. And I share memories of him, like laugh, like funny ones, etc. And they laugh, and they, share memories, and they share, like, they obviously most of their parents are still alive, but they still share stories of their parents, and I find it funny, and I find it lovely. And that's the thing, when you've got a good unit of people around you, they would be more than happy for you to share your experiences with your parent, and it helps keep their memory alive in a positive way. Oh God, yeah, sorry, back to that cold. It's shifting, guys. The cold is shifting. It's taken about 3 weeks. But I do have a bit of a cough sometimes, so yeah. But you could also try journaling or therapy. I've had a couple of sessions of therapy, or a couple of like rounds of therapy. Like, you kind of get them in like 6-7 week sessions. I've had a couple of them before, just to work through the guilt and try and channel your energy into something positive. You could do volunteer work or donate to a cause that was meaningful for the deceased. Like, funny enough, my dad donated to the air ambulance a lot. You're never going to see me in a helicopter because heights and me aren't very, we don't go hand in hand. But, if I've got I know we're in a cost of living crisis and etc. But, if there's money that I'm going to go and spend, I don't know, I'm going to go to Costa and get a hot drink instead of like spending £3 on that, when actually I could always one day go, actually, I don't need the extra caffeine and calories today. And let me donate that to a charity close to my dad's heart, for example. Like, it's just an example. I don't think, maybe I'll do it. We'll see. I'll let you know next week if I've done it. And when you're living with the rational guilt, 'cause obviously I've spoken about irrational guilt with, you've got the rational guilt of, for some, there may be the rational guilt tied to the mistake made. So, you might have had a harsh conversation with the person who's deceased before they passed away. And it's important we don't dismiss the rational guilt, but don't then exaggerate your responsibility in that situation, because I feel like that's easy to do. And you're never going to be able to completely eliminate rational guilt. Like, you're not. We just need to accept the fact that we're humans and, set reasonable expectations and channel your regret into positive things. So I was very argumentative with my dad. We just butted heads. I was kind of like the firstborn daughter going through puberty, hormones, etc. And I used to butt heads with my dad quite a bit. And I do apologise, because I'm not as argumentative now, I hope. I mean, I'm still a bit of a hothead, and I haven't really I know that's the thing, I'm not practicing what I'm preaching. Like, I need to change that into, like, when someone upsets me, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I go silent, or I will say something in the heat of the moment, and then I kind of will reflect, and then I kind of will become more talkative, or I'll apologise for saying something that I said very irrationally. And I can see how that's kind of has sort of affected my relationships with people, but it's better than what it was, and it's little steps like that. And I know I know I need to channel, not being as much of a hothead. I need to try and minimise that. And And as difficult as grief is, you have the power to stop self-blame from robbing your capacity of joy moving forward. I hope you're able to listen to this podcast with compassion to yourself and like, and also have compassion to the others that are impacted by this challenging emotion. You deserve to heal, and it's possible to overcome guilt by taking small steps every day. And I'd like to say, like, what matters the most is that we continue reaching towards the light, even in our darkest places. And this quote, like I say, that I love, no mud, no lotus. Like, I don't know why, for me, I just really love that quote at the moment. It's really kind of like, you need to sit in these murky waters and something beautiful will blossom. So I actually kind of have wrapped up everything I wanted to say today. Gosh, sorry, I had an itchy eye. Got an itchy. Oh. So I've kind of said everything that I wanted to say today. Not as long as I thought it'd be. That's fine. Sometimes this happens. You know, you're not set to a strict schedule. So I'm going to end this session with my younger self section. So what would I tell my younger self today? I just tell them. Ooh. So I'm going to end the episode with my what would I tell my younger self section. And I would tell my younger self, learn to cook at least one really, really impressive meal. It comes in handy for dates and also those times where you're tired of instant noodles. So that's that thing. And also when your partner doesn't know how to cook, so you're like, oh, okay, I've got to cook them. So one of those. And also, you are not responsible for the happiness of others, even your family. It's okay to pursue your own path and build your own life. That's what your loved one would want you to do. So yes, that is the end of the episode this week. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a lovely week. I hope you do something fun. I hope you do something that makes you proud of yourself. And I will be back with another episode soon. I haven't really planned yet what it's going to be, so I can't really give any hints, tips or tricks. And I am excited to listen. I'm excited to listen to you. I mean, that's a bit weird. I'm excited for you to listen to me next time. Sending you loads and loads of love. And you are amazing. You are powerful. You are incredible. And you've got this. So keep going.